Hey guys, so today in this video, we're going to talk about the one thing that you need to do if you have an autoimmune condition to heal that without medication. The very first thing, actually, whether you're going to be on medication or not, or whether you're already on medication or not, you need to do this one thing. Whether you have lupus, psoriatic arthritis, Sjogren's, celiac, IBS, there's over 80, I'm not going to name them all, RA or some of the more common ones. The one or the very first thing and the one thing that you can do to help your autoimmune condition is lose weight. So if you are 15, 20, 30 pounds overweight, your body is creating inflammatory cytokines, which is making the autoimmune condition worse. So in this video, I'm going to talk about, why women over 45 have autoimmune conditions, why they gain weight, over 45 is very common, and also what you can do about it. The three most important diet programs. I'm loath to call anything a diet, but a way of eating. This video, we're not going to talk about sleep and stress. Those are things that need to be tackled as well. Fasting. I'm a huge fan of fasting. Watch any of my other videos on fasting, intermittent fasting, time restricted eating. But on this video, we're just going to talk about sort of the three best nutritional programs to lose weight, especially if you have one of the 80 autoimmune conditions that have been recently diagnosed. Because if you have 15 or more pounds to lose, like I said, you have been creating more inflammation than necessary. Your immune system is not really necessarily attacking itself. It's confused, and creating more inflammation by the weight is making it worse. So that's where I have everybody start. This video is for you if you have an autoimmune condition and you think you have some weight to lose. Let's dive in. So the reason why you may be gaining weight could be any number of reasons. Mostly I'm speaking to women over 45. That's when estrogen starts to get wonky. Over 50, you actually kind of just drop off the estrogen train and you just have no more estrogen. And estrogen is one of those hormones that helps you maintain a healthy weight because it helps you balance your blood sugar. So it helps that insulin work properly. It helps, your blood sugar be balanced. And when your blood sugar's out of balance, that's when often people start to gain weight. Maybe you gain weight around the middle. You could have gained weight due to stress. If you're 45, you're vulnerable to that middle poofiness that we all get, as we age. But then it might start to creep into other areas. And before you know it, you're 15 pounds overweight, and all the other things you did before, whether it be Weight Watchers or calorie restriction or anything like that, even if you're going to go on Ozempic to lose the weight, I actually don't mind that. There's lots of things that you need to know about that. That is in another video. But temporarily, if you've got, 30, 40, 50 pounds, it's imperative that you get that weight off, especially if you're over 45. So if you need that little bit of help from the semaglutide, that's fine too, but that's a whole nother video. So look for my other videos on that. If you like this video, if you're interested in autoimmune conditions and how to heal them, please like and subscribe because I come out with videos every week that are very helpful in how to do that. Okay, let's dive into the three types of diets. I loathe to call them diets, you guys, but we're going to dive into that. The three types that I counsel people on and coach you through. Now, there's lots of troubleshooting that goes on with this. So I get a lot of comments from people. I tried, what you said to do and XYZ happened and I don't know what to do. So there's lots of troubleshooting that happens. If you've tried any of these things and you have a question, please put it in the comments. If you tried it and it totally worked and you cleared up your autoimmune condition, or you are on meds and you were able to get off the meds, which is what I did. For those of you who don't know and are watching me for the first time, lots of other videos about why I'm here and why I'm talking about autoimmune conditions. Shortly, just long story short, I healed myself from psoriatic arthritis, which is one of the many autoimmune conditions. Yes, I had a genetic predisposition, which many of us do, but I had a lot of environmental factors that were triggering and firing all kinds of things. If you're watching this and it's for a friend and you don't know what an autoimmune condition is, we used to kind of say, and you may hear me say this on some of my videos, that your body is attacking yourself. What it's really doing is your immune system is not overactive. It's just confused and it's attacking things it shouldn't be attacking. Very simplified version of that. Okay, let's dive into the three diets programs, ways of eating. I hate to call it a diet because these are not diets, but the 3 types of eating, not talking about right now stress and sleep and other very, very important things. Fasting, very, very important. These are like just the bare bones nutrition, because a lot of times people come to me or they ask me questions. I just want to know what to eat. I just want to know what to do. And there's sort of 3 main diets that work the best to bring down inflammation in general. So even if you don't have an autoimmune condition, but you've got rampant inflammation, you may be on your way to an autoimmune condition. You do have to have it in your genetics to sort of trigger that. Even if you have inflammation in general, you get lots of headaches, you've got nasal congestion, you've got joint pain. These 3 dietary ways of eating will improve those 2. So number 1 is carnivore. I know it's going to be sacrilege. And if you're a vegan or vegetarian watching this, just bear with me, please. I beg of you. So the way that our grains work right now in the United States and the way they're grown and the way that they react in the body is very inflammatory. High gluten. We've changed the crops in this country to make them high gluten so that we're actually eating gluten and bread and all the things that we're eating that have gluten and wheat that are not the way that they were originally made. So first thing when I say to people, don't eat bread, go off all grains, they tell me about the Bible. They tell me Jesus ate bread and it was fine for him. If you can find, this is what I say to everybody else, if you can find that bread the way that Jesus ate it, you can have as much as you want. Unfortunately, we are not. We are living in reality and we are not living in that world. So you need to go off all grains. And that is one of the things you can do is to go carnivore. And I'm not saying go carnivore forever, although there are plenty of people who live perfectly healthy, no cholesterol problem, carnivore diets, 100%. Look up Dr. Ken Berry. He is a huge proponent of the carnivore diet. What I usually recommend, and I'm not a doctor, I'm going to interject that right here. I'm not a doctor. I am not giving you medical advice. However, I do work with people to help them reverse the symptoms of their autoimmune condition and completely go into remission. It is entirely possible. ChatGPT it, go on YouTube, look it up, look it all up. Don't believe me. Look on the internet. You can find it all over the internet. It is possible. Even if you're on medications, this is the spot for you because I'm going to tell you what to do. So carnivore means exactly what it says, which is you're basically eating meat all the time. Now, I usually have people go on a carnivore diet for a designated period of time because people get all up in their heads about carnivore diet, but it is very anti-inflammatory. Question usually arises, do I need to eat grass-fed, grass-finished? You don't necessarily have to eat that. I like it. If your budget allows, go for it. If you like the taste, it tastes a little bit different than regular meat that you're used to. If your budget allows, and if you have access to that fresh local meat or frozen, you can get it delivered, even better. And if you feel a difference, great. You don't have to. I would say, don't go for the McDonald's carnivore diet. That's not what I'm saying. But I would say that, the highest quality and the freshest, because it's just going to have the most nutrients in it and you're going to get the best out of it. So I'm going to put up here a graphic that's going to show the amount of vitamins and minerals and nutrients and amino acids in a steak. And you are going to see that you can get all of what you need from a steak in terms of all of the vitamins, minerals that you think you're getting from vegetables. This is not a hate on vegetables. I am not saying that you should not be eating vegetables ever, ever, ever. And I will also list here what it means to be on a carnivore diet and what is allowed on a carnivore diet. It is not as designated and strict as keto. I'm going to talk about that too, but basically you're eating meat. Right? So a carnivore diet is basically you're eating meat, fish, lamb, chicken, eggs, turkey, organ meats, salmon, sardines, you can get a lot of variety and a lot of things can happen for you in terms of vitamin, mineral profile. You will not have any problems. You won't have deficiencies because if you look at the nutritional values of all of the things I just mentioned, including butter, ghee, bacon, that's why everybody went back to bacon. Really was a keto thing, but you eat all that and you basically eliminate all plants. Now, one of the problems with the plants and plant-based diets is that they don't have the building blocks, the complete amino acid profile, the essential amino acids that you need for building muscle and building bone. So you get that when you eat animal protein. So whatever anybody's doing, I am a huge advocate of eating animal protein, even if you're not eating carnivore. But the carnivore diet will calm down your immune system. So your immune system's getting confused. And there's lots of videos out there about what happens with your immune system and the different, kind of processes that happen when you have an autoimmune condition. I'm not really going to go into that because I advertise this as a, how should you eat to lose weight, which is really important. So you will lose weight on a carnivore diet. I know that butter and ghee and beef are not the 80s and 90s Gen Xers, I'm talking to you right now, that we were raised on that's going to help you lose weight. But I promise you, you will lose weight on a carnivore diet. The other one is that we're going to move to right now is keto. So keto has become very popular, although it's the ketogenic diet has been around a long time as a cure or a help for people with epilepsy. So it has been around a long time, but more recently it has become very popular because people lost a lot of weight on keto. Now, here's my caution. Following the keto diet is a very, very specific kind of diet. The keto diet is a very specific percentage of fat, percentage of carbohydrates, which includes vegetables, and percentage of protein. It's a low carbohydrate, basically zero carbohydrate. And there's many ways to sort of do keto. The standard keto is 70%, let me check that, 70% fat, 20% protein, and 10% carbs. There's also a clinical ketogenic diet, for what I'm talking about when people do it for epilepsy or other reasons, or a targeted keto diet or a high protein ketogenic diet. Those are different variations. If you want to do the standard ketogenic diet, it's 70% fat. And I know that's very scary to people. And you get that from butter and animal protein, but you really need to be very targeted and methodical about how you're going to do that. Now, the ketogenic diet, because it's popular, guess who kind of, commandeered the entire industry? The food industry thought, oh, this is popular. Let's make keto snacks. I want to caution you away from those because I meet a lot of people who are on keto who come to me. They're like, I've been on keto and I don't have any energy. I'm not losing weight. It didn't work for me. If it doesn't work for you, you probably need some adjustments and you're probably not doing it right. Keto is definitely a thing that needs to be done right. Carnivore too. But keto, you really need to stay in those percentages. And then once you get used to it, like anything else, you're not busy like looking at labels and measuring anymore. You know what you're eating and how much of certain foods you need to eat. But you do sort of need to keep track of that, I would say, for a month to get used to the ketogenic diet. Now, I want to go back to the keto snacks. So you really want to stay away from those snacks because what you're doing with the ketogenic diet is you're bringing down your inflammation and you're burning your fat as fuel. That is a great way to lose weight. So if you're not a believer, if you won't believe me on carnivore, then ketogenic, since it's popular and it's all over TikTok and social media, if you go to Instagram or TikTok, you will see, gazillions of before and after pictures of people that have lost weight on ketogenic diet. Don't listen to the haters. Eating fat doesn't make you fat. What it's going to do is it's going to help you become fat adapted. And when you become fat adapted, you use your fat as fuel and your body gets used to using your fat as fuel. And it takes definitely some time for your body to become fat adapted and to learn to be metabolically flexible. A lot of people complain about many things about keto, the keto flu. The first couple of weeks, you are going to be feeling that keto flu, especially if you're used to eating a high carby kind of diet. I don't recommend doing keto with fast food. I always recommend doing any of these things that I'm talking about, with real whole food, with the highest quality your budget allows. So if you're going to have a ton of bacon, you want to have the bacon that's fresh. And let's just talk about bacon for a second. I personally don't eat bacon because I eat in a certain way because of my religion that I just don't eat bacon. However, bacon is not the demon that it's made out to be. Bacon is just like, I recently learned this. I thought like growing up, bacon was really demonized between my religion and my culture. And then growing up in the 70s and 80s and not the 90s, but like being sort of nutritionally trained in the 90s to think like, oh my God, bacon is like the devil. Bacon is just like sheared off piece of pork that you're frying up, and now, they add sugar to it. That's a whole different ballgame, and they nitrates, but now you can get really great fresh bacon. And the way that bacon was eaten, 1,000 years ago was not unhealthy. There's nothing unhealthy about it. And it's got that fat in it, that saturated fat that can be really energizing. So all of the foods that you were going to eat on keto, and the reason why it's high fat is because fat doesn't raise your blood sugar. That's why you're going to lose weight. So it doesn't raise your blood. So anybody with insulin resistance, 30, 40, 50 pounds, you got a lot of weight to lose. Ketogenic diet can work really well for you. But just to know, two things: stay away from the middle of the market and those keto snacks in the bags, boxes, and barcodes for any reason at all, but particularly on keto, don't fall into that marketing trap, because the things that the keto snacks are made of, technically, they probably on the back of the package will probably adhere to the requirements of keto. But if you actually look at the ingredients and not that nutritional panel, you'll see that probably has seed oils and probably doesn't have sugar, which I know people are attracted to, but it probably has seed oils and lots of other inflammatory junk that you're actually, if you have an autoimmune condition or if you have weight to lose, you're trying to bring down your inflammation. So those keto snacks are not going to work for you. That's why they don't work. Okay, so that's keto. If you have any questions about keto or carnivore, please put them in the comments below. I am monitoring, I am listening to your questions, and I am happy to answer your questions about any of those too. The next one is paleo. A lot of you guys have heard about paleo. Paleo is hugely popular. So paleo is really popular, and it's really a great gateway. So if you're considering any one of these three things, it's a great one to jump into. And basically paleo stands for Paleolithic man, and it's how we think. And obviously around the entire globe, people ate differently. But basically the hunter-gatherer Paleolithic man was eating real whole food. They weren't eating any packaged foods. They were eating some whole grains, once they started to be able to have rice and, wheat and make bread and stuff. That was fine, but very limited, because that was very labor intensive and it took a long time. And if they're hunting and gathering, and if they're having to move around, if they were nomadic, they weren't necessarily able to carry a sack of rice around everywhere. If they were staying put, that's fine. So that's why I say caveat is, around the globe, different cultures had different variations of this. This is also one that is not such an exact science and limiting like the carnivore and the keto. It's more of what I call sort of the gateway. It resembles like the Whole30 or anything like you're just eating real whole food from the outside of the market, nothing from the inside of the market, nothing bags, boxes, barcodes, none of that. You can have a lot of nuts, which obviously are in a bag, but they should resemble, and I usually for nuts, I say stick with macadamia and pecan, because the other nuts, if they're legumes, Paleolithic man, by the way, had a lot of problems with legumes. So look up legumes. It's not an easy thing to just not have any legume. Don't feel overwhelmed, but legumes come with other problems because, just to put it in a nutshell, they have an anti-nutrient around the plant that protects it from animals eating it. So animals would get sick from legumes. So it would discourage eating that said legume, like a peanut or something. There's anti-nutrients, cashews, a lot of beans are legumes. So, Paleolithic man supposedly didn't eat a lot of that because they were very difficult to prepare and they didn't store easily. So like cured meats, they could dry meats, beef jerky and all that stuff. They could keep that around for a couple of days and it'd be okay. Although you can keep grains around, I get that. You can't move around with that. And to prepare those things that could be edible, they needed to soak them or use water. Just the process of eating them, they ate very limited amounts of whole grains. So that's where paleo comes in. One more thing about paleo is dairy. People ask me about dairy all the time. So on paleo, you do limit dairy. Again, it was another thing where you had to have a cow or a goat, and you had to milk that and then store it and keep it because it goes, or drink it right away, or drink it right from the, after milking it, you down that milk. So yes, they had that, but it was limited, and it was also not pasteurized. So it was different. So the paleo diet, the reason why they sort of limit the dairy is because dairy actually is highly processed. It's pasteurized for a reason. I'm not saying pasteurizing is bad. You're getting the bacteria and the viruses and all the crap out of it. So it's actually not going to make you sick. But now the paleo diet sort of limits dairy for that reason, is because it's lacking the enzymes, which is why a lot of people are lactose intolerant, dairy intolerant, because as we age, we sort of lose the enzymes to digest the dairy. And dairy typically comes with enzymes. If it's not pasteurized, it comes with the enzymes that help you digest that food, or that dairy product, or that cheese, whatever it is. So without that, if it's pasteurized, that's why people get sort of that lactose intolerant situation. Paleolithic man did limit the amount because they weren't able to store that easily because it would go bad quickly. So it was just something that you limit anything in a package. So those are the three things that you want to start with if you're trying to lose weight and you have an autoimmune condition. Carnivore, keto, and paleo are your friend. Now, I only sort of went in, very surface level in explaining what some of those things are. Some of my other videos, I explain in more depth why carnivore, why paleo, why keto, and how to go into that. Or you can certainly comment below if you have questions, certainly. So just one more thing, if you're watching this and you do have weight to lose and you have an autoimmune condition and you're a woman over 45, and any of these, either carnivore or paleo or keto, appeals to you, and you're looking for a little bit more help, a little bit more in-depth questions answered, certainly you can put a question in the comment below if it's easy. If not, I do have if you want more in-depth information, I have a really great gut health check. And the link is just below, right in here, and you fill it out and it gives you some tips. It also gives you an opportunity to book a call with me if you have specific questions about your specific case, your specific autoimmune condition. There's so many things and details that can happen, and people have questions about how to do each program and which one is best for them. I can certainly give you guidance on that. And certainly the state of your gut is always a factor when it comes to autoimmune conditions, because your immune system resides in your gut. That is your first line of defense. 70% of your immune system resides in your gut. That's where it all starts. So usually people with autoimmune conditions or weight to lose, 15, 20 pounds, come with some gut dysbiosis, and that checklist, because even if you don't have acid reflux or bloating, or if you don't think you have bloating, there are other things that are indicators of an unhealthy gut and that things aren't really working optimally. So go ahead and just click that link. It's just a quick checklist, and you will get an email about what to do and how to follow up with questions with me if you choose to do so. Okay, guys, if you're still watching and you like this video and you found it informative, please like it, please subscribe, and please share it off to anybody who you think this would be helpful to, especially a woman over 45 with an autoimmune condition. Okay, thanks, guys.